Our story begins at the 4th Academy of Sioux City in an alternative world. The architectural style of the buildings clearly suggests that this alternative world is technologically advanced. And in the backyard of the school, a person stands above the stairs, overseeing a group of students who are standing above some sort of pattern, and these designs clearly indicate that an enchantment is being performed. The man on the stairs is revealed to be Principal Zhu Jinlong. With a broad smile, he eagerly announces that today is the day when all the students gathered there will become players in the inner world. Although the inner world mentioned by the old man remains a mystery to us, but let's hope to soon find out. The next Principal Zhu Jinlong explains that the system will assign classes once they enter the formation. Some of you might have expected regular, boring classes, but as it turns out it becomes clear that he is referring to the classification of warriors. And the students have the possibility of becoming strong swordsmen, tenacious knights, agile assassins, or powerful mages. The selection for each student's class is entirely random, and fate will decide for them. Regardless, the old man wishes everyone the best in becoming outstanding individuals in their respective classes. With those final words, he concludes his speech. As the introductions conclude, a voice resonates in the area, clearly ordering the activation of the transfer formation. The pattern beneath their feet starts to shimmer brightly. Amidst the students, there appears to be one specific student who stands out the most. This boy appears to be our hero, the protagonist of the story. His name is Kyo Yuo, and it becomes clear that he is no ordinary person given his background. It's revealed that it has been 18 years since he was reincarnated, and the moment he had been waiting for has finally arrived for him. In the following scene, we see a planet similar to Earth. This world is called Kaini Star, a parallel world that is extremely similar to Earth. However, the reality on this planet seems grim. Unlike Earth, this artificially developed inner world has suddenly descended, causing the human world to be overturned. This catastrophe has pushed this world to the brink of extinction, with various dangerous dungeons emerging around the planet. To retaliate against these dungeons and creatures that have emerged, it becomes clear that the moment our boy was waiting for is to reach the age of 18. According to their world customs, individuals who reach the age of 18 are granted abilities through the method of transfer formation. After acquiring these abilities, these individuals help clear the dungeons that appeared out of nowhere. And of course it doesn't stop there. What is more exciting is that by killing monsters, these individuals can level up their ranks and gain attribute points to increase their overall strength and stats. That being said, our boy has now arrived seemingly in a digital pocket where he stands firmly, embracing himself. In that moment, a digital window pops up in front of him, promptly welcoming our boy. Of course, it tells the boy that this is his first time entering the inner world and asks if he would like to roll for his class. Without wasting a single moment, he immediately says yes, while at the back of his mind, he couldn't help but fear about ending up in the worst class. The computer window appears again, showing the progress of the rolling process. With a short delay, a wallpaper of a gigantic undead appears behind him, clearly indicating the completion of the rolling process. The computer promptly congratulates our boy for getting a hidden class, and this hidden class is revealed to be the Necromancer. The boy stands there, seemingly processing the scene unfolding. A moment later, my man just bursts out like, "Holy shit," leaving him in an unparalleled state of happiness. Though I can relate to it because this is the same reaction I had after pulling my favorite SSR in one of the gacha games known as Fate Grand Order. Anyway, in the next scene, we see an old character who seemingly has nothing to do with our story, and is just placed there by the designers for demonstration purposes. As it turns out, a Necromancer is an extremely rare class, and it's believed that only 1 or 2 people in the entire world can get. Of course, it goes without saying that the Necromancer class abilities are insane, where you just have to wave the staff to summon countless top-notch undead creatures from the gates of hell. Though not everything is without a catch. We learn that as long as one has enough mana, they can become a one-man army. Our boy, really eager, claims that in general, getting a hidden class means one will be more powerful than people from other classes. That being said, our boy, with swift gestures, opens up a window to see the attribute page. In an instant, the window appears, showing all of the stats and abilities he excels in. Upon a closer look at the window, it becomes clear that he excels at everything, be it agility, mana, or health. His defense is also above average, but there is one stat specifically that is 0, and that turns out to be his spirit. Upon seeing this, his mouth agape in shock, he couldn't comprehend why the fuck a Necromancer would have 0 spirit. Despite his intense reaction, this is the reality, and our poor boy has to face it. As the spotlight focuses on our boy, we can see him falling down on his knees, seemingly in despair. He could not shake off the fact that spirit is the most important attribute for a mage, and if it is below 5, he has no way in hell that he can fight his adversaries. Now that he has successfully rolled for a class, the next prompt from the computer asks him if he wishes to roll for a new talent. The poor lad, tears streaming down his cheeks, is still grappling with the Spirit Zero issue. He tells the computer to do anything, as for him, nothing really matters now because he feels he is doomed anyway. He believes that even if he gets an S-grade talent, it would be useless if his spirit is 0. A little more about the talents. They are divided into the 7 grades that start from lower F till S. The process for rolling talents initiates, and a moment later, the boy, yet again covered in the uprising aura, is congratulated by the computer for getting the talent. The talent he got was the Brave Heart of a Mage, surprisingly, which grants 10 free attribute points to him. The next window appears, stating its passive and active effects. For the passive effect, attribute points will be awarded after player R lad kills an enemy with physical attacks. The active effect allows the player to increase other attribute values to the same value as a certain attribute level. Of course, there are limitations, such as only one attribute can be bound before using the active effect. Looking at the window, his shock intensifies as he wonders had he read it wrong, and the reason for his shock becomes clear. Getting free attribute points is almost impossible. In order to collect attribute points, one can only get them when they level up. Other than that, if they want to increase their attributes, the only way is to train hard. Of course, looking at its passive effect, he believes that as long as he kills enemies with physical attacks, he can earn attribute points. Even though he can only use the active effect once, it can still raise his other attributes to the same level as his highest attribute. Our lad stands tall, realizing that if he uses his free 10 attribute points to enhance his spirit attribute, he would become an all-rounder with 10 points in all attributes, and a newbie with such attributes is almost like a monster, destined to be recorded in history. However, he has other plans in mind. He believes that if he waits until his strength attribute reaches 1,000 or 100,000, a necromancer with such points in each attribute will be truly a terrifying being to reckon with. A broad smirk etches on his face, revealing the terrifying plans he has ahead. He believes that since his passive requires him to attack physically to acquire attribute points, he deduces that strength is the most crucial attribute up his sleeve. With a confident grin on his face, he orders the computer to allocate all points into strength. In an instant, a window appears, confirming the successful point allocation into strength. Looking again at his updated stats, it's quite clear that the lad now possesses the strength of a train, although his spirit remains at 0 for strategic purposes. With the stage set, the next course of action is to finally register into the class, and that involves completing a beginner rank task. Only after clearing this task would he be considered successful in obtaining his class. An arcane energy engulfs him and spirals. Instantaneously, our boy arrives at a place surrounded by mountains with no signs of inhabitants. A lady with long ponytails stands before the teleport gate. Upon closer inspection, the lady appears to be an elf, with pointy ears, blonde hair, and a delicate face. Her overall delicate presence is complemented by a pair of well-defined melons. The boy looking at her freezes for a moment, captivated by the dazzling beauty before him. He wonders briefly if she is an NPC. Regardless, he proceeds, telling her that he is here to receive and accept his beginner task.